Welcome back to the Sage Audio channel. Today we're looking at how to gain stage your master. But first, if you have a mix that you need mastered, send it to us at sageaudio.com to receive a free mastered sample of it. How much headroom do I need when mastering? When you're mastering, it's important to have roughly 3 to 6 dB of headroom. The maximum peak of your signal in a digital system should be somewhere between -3 dB and -6 dB. This ensures that you have enough headroom to perform your processing. If you started with 1 dB of headroom and your saturator or EQ amplified the signal by 2 dB, you'd end up with clipping distortion. But if you had 6 dB of headroom and your saturator or EQ amplified the signal by 2 dB, you'd still have 4 dB of headroom, meaning you could continue processing without introducing clipping distortion. How to monitor your process signal when you're mastering. If you're mastering with plugins, it helps to use ones with both input and output meters. This way you can measure the amplitude of the signal both before and after processing. Most plugins use 64-bit internal processing, meaning that the signal can go above 0 dB without clipping, so long as it's reduced to below 0 dB before the output. Despite this, it's a good idea to get into the habit of carefully measuring your signal to avoid going over 0 dB and leaving enough headroom for the next plugin to perform its processing. Otherwise, you may accidentally create some unwanted clipping distortion somewhere in your chain. How to avoid distortion when you're limiting. When you're using a limiter, keep in mind that you're pushing the signal into a brick wall ceiling. This can easily create unwanted distortion in a myriad of ways. To avoid distortion when you're pushing the signal, use a combination of 3 limiter functions: oversampling, look ahead, and true peak detection. Oversampling creates more accurate quantization, resulting in less overs or peaks that go above 0 dB. Look ahead measures the incoming signal ahead of time, allowing the limiter more time to react, and true peak detection automatically reduces the output by the needed amount to avoid clipping distortion. Why you should reduce the output of your master. Your master is most likely going to be online at some point. When you upload your master to YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, or other services, it'll get encoded into a lossy file, like an MP3. This will reduce the accuracy of your master's amplitude. If your master is close enough to 0 dB, this change will most likely cause your master to peak and distort as bits of information that were almost 0 dB go above 0 dB. To avoid this, reduce the output of your master to -1 dB or -2 dB true peak. This will keep the signal from going over 0 dB when its amplitude changes, in turn avoiding clipping distortion. How processing changes later in the chain. If you're starting your chain, a fair amount of distortion may not sound too off-putting. Similarly, amplifying some high frequencies might sound great as well. But by the time you've introduced limiting, you might find that this distortion is too aggressive or that the high frequency bump is making your master sound harsh. The reason this happens is because our ears hear frequencies differently at different loudnesses. So once you've made the master louder with your limiter, the processing prior to it can completely change. So keep in mind that the gain of previous forms of processing will change once the overall signal is amplified. If you have a mix, send it to us at sageaudio.com to receive a free mastered sample of it. Also, stay up to date by subscribing and liking the video. Lastly, let us know your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching.